I'm building my presentation around, let's say, 6 chapters that you see here on the screen. I'm not going to have a lot of slides, just let's say some guidance through my story. First, I want to talk about what is employee experience and why is it. I mean, we did take out, let's say, resources out of human resources, but employee experience is more than just a new name. I want to let you know how can employee experience really change your company, how improving your, let's say, employee experience can also improve your customer experience, because I think that's what we are looking for. What are the keys to creating an employee engaged culture, the role of personalization in creating an employee experience, and also share a little bit what I think are the challenges in improving our customer our employee experience in the future. So that's how I'm going to share my story. So let's start with the first one. Why is employee experience more than a new name for HR? And actually, we had this discussion also within the company, because when I started, in Spain, at least, because I am for 19 years within the company, but mostly in the Netherlands. I'm here in Spain for 6 years, and when I started, I was the Chief Human Resources Officer. And after, let's say, 1 year, when we also did the full agile implementation within the company, we also looked into ways to, let's say, work more efficiently and effectively in terms of servicing our employees. And at that point, we said, let's combine the area of human resources with facilities, with CSR and diversity and inclusion, also communications and branding, and all of that together to really work as one department. And for example, the first question I got was, but okay, communication and branding, how can that be HR? I said, no, it's not HR, but it's so linked, let's say, to the daily business of an experience of employees, that I really think it's important to merge them all together. And what I did, let's say, to show that it's not, let's say, other departments reporting to HR, but really creating this integrated experience. And what it said on the slide, to take into account both, let's say, salary, the monetary part of reward, but also the more, that's what we call emotional salary, the emotional part of reward, is that we created this employee experience journey. And I think this is something that, let's say, looking at customers, let's say, a customer experience journey, I think most people know. But employee experience journey basically is the same. Is, let's say, drawing through what phases is an employee going within the company. And what I said before about, for example, communications and branding, the first touch point that an employee has with a company is the brand. So we are used to thinking about what is your employee value proposition, but what is the importance of a brand in that, and the reputation of a company? What do people read in newspaper, in magazines? So it really starts already with how do you present yourself outside as a company. Maybe your employees, or to be employees, are customers. So you should have a positive image as of the first moment that a possible employee is in touch with your company. So it doesn't start with recruitment, with employee value proposition. It starts with being aware that the reputation of your company, that the brand of your company is the first touch point of an employee with your company, and you should focus on that. And another point that I would like to highlight in this employee experience journey is what we call living Nationale-Nederlanden, which I really think is the key of why it's so important also to have these different teams together in one department called employee experience, because this is everything that has to do with cultures. culture within the company, your values, but also your workspace. How is the what tools are you using? Do you have a good place to work in the company, but also at home, of course? So that's what we call living Nationale-Nederlanden, and that is really that really touches all the different areas that I mentioned before. Another important part is recognition. What I mentioned before about salary and emotional salary is we really look at it from, let's say, a total reward perspective. So a person should be recognized for what he or she is doing, not only in terms of salary, but also we have a recognition program where people can receive, let's say, votes from their co-workers, which is really, let's say, a new version of the employee of the month concept that we tend to think it's old-fashioned, but if you do it in a fun and up-to-date way, you see that it really really works. And these are some key elements that I would like to highlight in our employee experience journey, and why I think it's so important that the departments that I mentioned before are really, really, really working together. So communication and branding, and of the first touch point of a possible employee with the company, facilities, HR, CSR, because also your social footprint and the things that you are doing for society are really important for employees nowadays. Creating a culture of diversity and inclusion. Everything is linked to each other. So it's not just putting these departments together in one floor or renaming HR. It's really building an integrated vision together with the people who work on everything that has to do with employee experience. So much more than just renaming an HR department. Then the second thing that I wanted to highlight, how can employee experience really revolutionize your business? I mean, the title of my presentation in the announcement was how to boost profit. I think, to be honest, that's very, very difficult to have a direct relationship between employee experience and company profit. But I do think that if you focus on what we say, we're not looking for another colleague, we're looking for you, that everybody, every person who works at the company is important, regardless of the position that they hold. It's the person who makes the professional. If you make them feel valued, also what Curtis was saying before, if you make them feel seen, and you generate a favorable climate for the person working in the company, it can generate great benefits. And I would not necessarily say in the first place profit, but I think if you have a positive employee experience, you can really change company philosophy and values such as integration, care, motivation, but also innovation. New ideas are thriving, and that, of course, in the end, is a way to improve your company results, to make the customer experience better. So it's creating an environment in which each person can thrive and can really develop to its best potential. And that in the end creates benefits that are much more important than just financial benefits for the company, because I think that's always an indirect effect of what you do from an employee experience perspective. So also with regards to this topic, how can you improve your customer experience with offering excellent employee experience? And that's what I also said before. If you look at the results from a customer experience perspective, we, according to external reports, we see that we, for years in a row, are the most recommended insurance company in Spain. and we far outperform the competitors. And we see three main aspects. Customers, they feel appreciated, they have high satisfaction, and they feel that the process of purchasing our products is agile and simple. And I think that demonstrates that our commitment to offering the best service to our customers by improving, let's say, the experience that our employees have, I think that will always have a repercussion in the service that you give to your customers. And that is always, let's say, what we have in mind, creating a positive environment for our employees, which in the end will pay off in how they treat our customers. Because I think that's also a very simple, let's say, societal thing, that if you treat others how you want to be treated, that also goes for if you treat your people well, they will treat your customers well. So I think it's a great tandem. Then the next point: what are the keys to really create this employee experience, employee engaged culture? And what I would like to mention as a great example is our hybrid working model. We call it Somos 4.0. We are 4.0, and we talked a little bit about the pandemic and the impact on employee experience. And there's a lot of publications out there on hybrid working. And to be honest, we were already working in a hybrid way before the pandemic, as one of the few companies in Spain. But what we said is, okay, the pandemic did speed up, let's say, some kind of development. And what we did is we asked our employees, actually, how would you like to design this hybrid working model? So it's not up to us as leaders of the company to define how you should work. And also that is different for each person within the company. And maybe a model that was working before the pandemic is not working today, and will also not the model that we have today will not be working tomorrow. So we have to acknowledge the times are changing, and we have to be open to continue to adapt to every circumstance that occurs. So what we do is basically every few months, I would say, we ask our employees and our leaders what works in this hybrid way of working, what doesn't work, what would you like to change, how do you see that our installations in the office are working, do you have a good workspace at home? We see, for example, that having a strong culture is really, really important, but also in a hybrid working model, it's very difficult to keep the strong connection between employees. So we are not a company that says, okay, you need to come to the office every day or every 2 days, but we really leave it up to, we do have some rules. I do think you have to set some rules. But we really say, okay, employees are the key in the company, so they should tell us what is the way of working. And we have seen that, let's say, working 100% from home, it works in terms of results. Does it have downsides? Yes, you lose the connection between people. So how can we find a solution for that? But let employees give input on how they see that. And I think looking at our engagement results that have been over 8 in the past years and very, very, very stable, it shows that if you involve employees in creating an employee experience, and for example, in this new way of or hybrid way of working, that really, really, really pays off. That brings me to my 5th point. I did show you before the employee experience journey, but obviously that's a very generalized picture. It's the general steps that an employee passes through within the company. But within each of these steps, you have to acknowledge that no employee is the same. That doesn't mean that you cannot have, let's say, general rules or general policies, but in the end, personalization is really, really the future. That's why we say flexibility is really, really important. Looking at your processes, looking at your policies, but then really asking again the employees, how do you see it? How can we adjust as much as possible to your priorities in order to, in the end, make them more effective in offering service to our customers. And that means that for example, that some people work 100% from home. Other people, because of their job, have to come to the office more often. But there is no one size fits all. So we really let our employees choose how they want to adapt, looking at the future. And in that sense, to my last point, because I already at my 20 minutes, I see time is flying. What are the upcoming challenges? And I really didn't want to put here artificial intelligence, for example, because I think, let's say that years ago we said, oh, computers are going to take over our lives. I really think that AI is one of the things that will change the way how we work, but it will never replace humans. So, but we have to stay open to adapting to changes in society. We have to stay open for the new profiles that we need. And what I really believe is that looking at employee experience, what becomes more and more important in the future is forgetting about job specifics. It's much more about the skills that you have as a person, the agility that you have to develop. So it's like what we also saw during the pandemic. Some work becomes obsolete. And for example, because of AI, some work will become obsolete, but you as an employee have the responsibility, and also you as a company, to work on your skills, to reskill, to upskill, to learn new things. So also in our employee experience, that is a really a crucial part, to make sure that people can develop, that each person individually can develop, have his or her own experience within the company, personalized, with a real focus on having an excellent experience for our employees, and in that way having an excellent service and experience for our customers. So that was fast and briefly my story, Thomas. So I hope that people have some questions.
Marije, thank you very much. So did I pronounce your name correctly, Marije? Is that the right pronunciation?
Yes, perfect.
Wonderful,
Perfect.
wonderful. So Marije, we do thank you so much for this this great session. We do have a few questions here, and we do have a little bit of time to go through them. I've got a question here. How do you keep the process simple? One contact person to client, or this is from Vardestekken.
I assume that you talk about how do you keep the whole employee experience process simple. And in that sense, we have, let's say, we still, I always say what's in a name, but we still call it HR business partners. I would like to say employee experience business partners. So we have, let's say, a single point of contact for each of the departments that we have within the company, and those people say, okay, I have a question. Based on the content of the question, that person, that business partner, is going to the, let's say, the right expertise center within the employee experience department. So we do have single point of contacts for our employees. Also, we have, let's say, the normal digital tools, let's say, where employees can make requests depending on the topic, which can go from, okay, there is leak in the building to I have a question about a loan that I want from the company. So it's a combination between, let's say, digital and having this single point of contact. For clients, I think it's a little bit more traditional in the sense that we have our website where people can ask questions. We have a call center, and what is very important here in Spain is that we have our own network of sales agents, which are over 2,000. So if you contract a product, which here in Spain people still like to do with a real person instead of online, is that you go to your sales office, you have your own agent, let's say, that's helping you with contracting the product.
Jeanette has a question here. Jeanette says, I really like your visual of the employee experience journey. If an organization is looking to review and revamp all aspects of EE, is there somewhere you would suggest in the most important place to start focusing on?
Good question. Let me think. I mean, I think the most important, and I also relate a little bit to the question that Aurélie was asking, like, you know, do you have personas? I know this is a very common way to draw, let's say, a customer experience journeys. I did use it in the past. We didn't use it in designing our employee experience here in Spain. But I do think, let's say, working with personas in creating an employee experience, I would definitely recommend it. And that takes time because it needs, you need to interview a lot of employees, let's say, from different levels, from different areas to do that. But always start, let's say, with your employee in mind. So let's say creating personas and further, let's say, personalizing this employee experience journey, I think is really, really important.
Okay, we've got a few more questions here. How to thrive in the effect of digital transformation on building employee experience?
In that sense, I really think that the combination between digital and human is really, really important. Also, what I mentioned before, for example, within employee experience, within the different teams that I mentioned that we have, let's say the different centers of expertise, we do use the same system, let's say, so the same front office system for employees to ask their question. And based on the content, it's going to either facilities or even IT. IT has the same system to HR, so a common front office, a common system. And then that combined with always the possibility to ask your question to your business partner, so to this single point of contact that is there to help you. So as I said before, I don't believe in, let's say, digitalizing everything. It helps in creating efficiencies, but never without having this personal human interaction. And we do the same actually for our customers. You say we can do a lot online, you can do a lot based on data and digitalization, but the human element is crucial. And I really firmly believe that also in the future, this will remain crucial.
We have a question from Natasha. How do you keep it manageable in the workload of a HRBP? Is there, for example, a good digital workflow system and Google type handbook information to take away part of the time-consuming activities?
I mean, to be honest, I'm open to receive any recommendations on this one because I don't have a good digital workflow system. The workload of these business partners definitely is high. I do believe that, let's say, let's say, top down, really making sure that your leaders take responsibility first for their people, and also for, let's say, the typical HR or employee experience kind of topics, instead of always saying, I don't know, that's an HR thing. No, you are responsible of managing your own people and giving them feedback and helping them with that question. So we try to really put the responsibility where it is, and really use these business partners for the really specialized topics. But I admit this is difficult, because also the type of people who have these roles, the first thing that they want to do is to help and to take away work from people, and saying no in that sense is the biggest challenge that I think we all recognize.
Vagita's asking, how does the HR fraternity ensure that no one can pour cold water to water down various milestones attained collectively, and how do we increase the pace of recognition in order to improve on employee experience journeys?
I don't know if I fully understand the question, to be quite honest.
All right. Well, we can. I think we can get back to that question. So, Vagita, if you'd like to get in touch with Marije
Yeah, please,
later on and maybe
do.
have a conversation on LinkedIn. I'm guessing LinkedIn is the best way to reach you.
Yes, LinkedIn is definitely a good way to reach me. And indeed, as Curtis was saying before, please mention that you were in this session, because I get a lot of CVs and questions from people who want to do business, which I think also we all recognize. But I would love to answer your questions via LinkedIn if possible. So please reach out to me, and also in the handout, you have my email address, so you can also just send me a direct email, whatever you prefer. And I do recognize that this has been a fast session, but I try to include as much as possible.
Marije, thank you so much for this invigorating session. It's been great to have you with us. Hope to see you again.